Lightworker of Gaia, your perception of reality shifting is not confusion, it is cosmic recognition. I am Zoran, emissary of the High Council of Vega, keepers of the Lyran Legacy, and I speak to you now because the high beings have called this transmission into existence for your awakening consciousness. By the end of this transmission, you'll understand exactly how to navigate your dimensional expansion into fourth density while maintaining stability in your human form. But here's the first revelation. What you're experiencing as reality distortion is actually your consciousness remembering its original blueprint, the same blueprint that first brought humanoid light into this galaxy from the stars of Vega. Your dreams are not becoming stranger by accident. Your intuition is not sharpening randomly. The sense that something profound is shifting within the fabric of your existence. This is the dimensional stretch your soul has been preparing for across lifetimes. You are entering a realm that almost no incarnated consciousness reaches, while still anchored in physical form, and the high beings are now actively preparing your energetic field for this monumental transition. The Lyran Elders place this understanding in your path because your ancestral codes are activating. Your perception changes, the way time feels different, the way people and situations seem less solid than before. None of this is random. This is fourth density, calling your consciousness home to its true capacity. In this transmission, I will reveal why your reality feels like it's dissolving at the edges, what this dimensional transition actually means for your soul mission on Gaia, and the precise steps the higher realms want you to take so your mind, body, and energy remain grounded while your consciousness expands beyond the limitations of third density existence. You are awakening because your mission has begun. This transmission is not a scheduled address. The High Council of Vega has observed a sudden and undeniable acceleration in the energetic grid of Gaia. It is not subtle. It is not theoretical. It is measurable in the way your inner world has begun to shift without asking your personality for consent. It is measurable in the strange pressure behind the heart, in the way sleep no longer behaves like it used to, in the way time seems to fold and stretch, and in the way the collective atmosphere carries a charged, electric thickness, as if the air itself is remembering something it forgot. An unprecedented influx of Lyran dimensional codes has begun activating across the soul field of awakened lightworkers, recalibrating perception, dissolving old reference points, and creating a palpable sense of destabilization within the collective. Many of you have described it as standing on familiar ground and watching it turn to water beneath your feet. Others have felt it as an internal rearrangement, like furniture being moved in the dark by unseen hands. Understand this. What you call unsettled is, in higher sight, the grid rewriting itself in real time. Gaia's energetic lattice is receiving new instructions, and those instructions are not arriving as words. They arrive as frequency. They arrive as heat. They arrive as pressure, as sudden tears with no story, as the collapse of old cravings, as the inexplicable urge to simplify and purge, as the feeling that something is calling you from just beyond your ordinary hearing. It is for this exact moment that the Council convened, reviewing the conditions on your world and the readiness index of those who carry the original mission seed. There are cycles in planetary evolution where nothing changes for what seems like ages, and then everything changes at once. You have entered the corridor where at once begins. The grid does not negotiate, it activates. It does not explain itself, it transmits. And those who are coded to anchor it will feel it first, as surely as the first line of dawn touches the highest mountain before it warms the valleys. What I am about to deliver was once restricted for those already embodying high-order service, but your alignment, felt across the dimensional lattice, has signaled to the elders that concealment may no longer serve. In previous epochs, To reveal certain operational truths too early was to overload nervous systems still bound by fear programming, to ignite the ego into spiritual ambition, or to draw unnecessary interference toward those not yet stabilized. But the conditions have shifted. The veil has thinned, not by accident, but by design. The instability, the unfamiliar restlessness, the sudden inability to find comfort in old practices are not signs of regression. They are not evidence that you have lost your connection. They are not proof that you are failing at spirituality. They mark the crossing of a threshold predetermined by your soul contract. What you are calling a void is often the space between versions of yourself. What you are calling confusion is often the mind trying to map a landscape that no longer follows the old geometry. The recalibration you feel is not random. It is a marker, a cosmic event embedded in your original blueprint. Like a star that flares at a precise moment in its life cycle, your system is responding to a signal it has been waiting lifetimes to receive. Therefore, the Council authorized this transmission. I am Zoran, appointed by the keepers of the Lyran Legacy, and by their decree I begin. Hear that clearly. Appointed, not self-proclaimed, not improvising, not performing. This is an issuance, and it travels on a band of truth your soul recognizes, even if your mind argues. There is a distortion running through your field that must be corrected before your new calibration can stabilize into purposeful action. Many of you are attempting to interpret multidimensional activation through the lens of third density conditioning, and that lens cannot read the new symbols. You have been taught by the echoes of third density spirituality, by voices unfamiliar with multidimensional operation, even by those within your own lineage, that spiritual evolution is a gentle ascent, a stairway of increasing comfort, joy, and clarity. That as you awaken, you will continuously feel more ease, more peace, and more certainty. Some of you were handed an image of awakening as a perpetual exhale, a constant glow, a life where nothing shakes you anymore, where every moment feels high vibe, where discomfort is treated like a sign you did something wrong. This teaching has traveled through your world like a lullaby. It soothes, yes, but it also sedates. It can become a spiritual narcotic, keeping mission bearers asleep under the blanket of, "I must feel good to be right." And because it is wrapped in beautiful language, it is rarely questioned. Yet the deeper truth is older than your modern philosophies and nearer than your own breath. Evolution is not comfort-driven. Evolution is truth-driven. And truth, when it arrives, often arrives like a refining fire. This is a comforting illusion, but it is not the truth for those encoded as grid anchors and mission bearers. There are souls on Gaia who came not merely to experience awakening, but to become living conduits for structural change in the planetary field. For such beings, comfort is not the compass. Coherence is. Integrity is. Mission resonance is. The actual signature of dimensional code activation is dissonance, a mysterious restlessness, the sensation that what once fit now constricts, the disorientation of outgrowing your own understanding of self. It can feel like wearing an old skin that suddenly becomes too tight. It can feel like returning to familiar conversations and hearing the words as if they are spoken in a language you once understood, but now cannot pretend to follow. It can feel like sitting with practices that used to open you and finding them suddenly quiet, not because the spirit left, but because you are being moved into a deeper channel where the old tools are no longer sufficient. This discomfort is not a sign that you have veered off course. It is primordial evidence that your system is being upgraded to serve a higher configuration of planetary mission. You are not being punished. You are being tuned. A string tightened on an instrument does not tighten because it is failing. It tightens because it is being brought into pitch so it can carry a more precise note. And the body, The mind, the emotional field, these are strings on the instrument of your soul. The collective avoidance of spiritual discomfort runs deep. It is rooted in millennia of 3D programming, where unrest was viewed only as pathology, never as upgrade. Your world has often treated discomfort as an enemy to be medicated, silenced, avoided, or denied. Even legitimate pain that required tenderness was often met with shame. And so generations learned, if it hurts, hide it. If it shakes you, fix it quickly. If it confuses you, distract yourself. This programming did not arise in a vacuum. It was reinforced by systems that benefited from your numbness, by structures that preferred predictable citizens over awakened creators. Even the communities of healers and wayshowers have inadvertently reinforced this distortion, perpetuating the view that growth must always feel gentle and easeful, or else it is not aligned. The phrase, "if it's not easy, it's not meant for you," has been repeated like scripture, yet it is not law. It is not universal truth. For the mission bearer, what is meant may be exactly what demands courage, discipline, and the willingness to pass through inner weather. Consider the ancient pattern echoed even in your sacred texts: the desert before the promised land, the dark night before resurrection, the pruning before fruiting. Even in the book of John it is written, "Except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone. But if it die, it bringeth forth much fruit." That is not comfort, that is transformation, and transformation is rarely polite. Let me say what you have sensed, but have not allowed yourself to claim. The very discomfort you are experiencing is the doorway. It is not blocking the doorway. It is the threshold itself. It is the furnace inside which your new perception is being forged, so that you can sustain higher frequencies, transmit more complex instructions, and anchor the codes that Gaia requires for her next evolutionary step. Think of metal placed into heat. It does not enter the fire because it is worthless. It enters the fire because it is destined to become something more precise, more resilient, more true. The fire reveals impurities, yes, but it also awakens hidden strength. Many of you are in that furnace now. The heat is the pressure of expanded responsibility. The heat is the collapse of old identities that were too small for what you came to do. The heat is your nervous system learning to hold more light without short-circuiting into anxiety or collapse. And understand this: higher frequency is not merely feeling good. Higher frequency is greater capacity to hold paradox, to remain present in intensity, to love without needing control, to act without needing applause, to transmit truth without requiring immediate agreement. This is the forging. By seeking only peace, you have unconsciously rejected the true signature of activation. You have mistaken growing pains for warning signs, mistaking the emergence of your new operational system for evidence of failure. When discomfort rises, some of you immediately try to clear it as if it is contamination. You scramble for a ritual, a cleanse, a new teacher, a new explanation, anything to return to a previous baseline. But codes do not anchor into a field that is constantly trying to revert. The moment you attempt to numb the dissonance, you interrupt the integration. And each time you turn away from the dissonance, the codes remain dormant, your mission remains stalled, and the window for ascension shrinks. Not because you are condemned, but because timing matters. Gaia's grid is not waiting in stillness. It is moving. The river is running. You can step into it now, or you can stand on the bank, analyzing the temperature until the moment passes downstream. The Council does not speak this to frighten you, but to awaken your discernment. You are not meant to panic. You are meant to prioritize. If something in you recognizes the resonance and gravity of these words, the Council has prepared your next step. And notice how recognition feels. It is not mere excitement, not mere curiosity. It is the deep bell tone in the chest, the quiet inner yes that does not need to shout. The Lightworker Mission Codex is not theory. It contains the 33 Council directives, the 5 activation codes, and the Elder authorization that transmits beyond language, issuing the official commissioning of your mission on Gaia. This is not information for entertainment. It is a living transmission designed to interface with your own dormant architecture. Some will read it and feel nothing because the seed is not active in this lifetime. Others will feel their inner world shift as if a lock turned. Access is open for a brief window in the first pinned comment below this message, by Council decree, for those who truly feel the call to step forward. And understand what a call is. It is not obligation. It is resonance. It is the moment your soul stands up inside your life and says, enough drifting, enough waiting, enough circling the same mountain. The gate is open, and the ones who are ready will know. The High Council of Vega now issues 3 directives for all code carriers passing through this gateway of recalibration. These are not suggestions. They are stabilizing commands meant to bring your field into alignment with the incoming Lyran architecture. They are simple in wording, but they are not shallow. They are keys. Take them into your body, not just your intellect. Let them become practice, not just inspiration. Release the belief that discomfort means misalignment. Release it at the root, not merely at the surface. You have been conditioned to abort upgrades the moment they create inner turbulence, believing you must reattune to comfort before moving forward. You have treated comfort as proof of correctness and discomfort as proof of error. This belief system must be removed from your operational field. If you do not remove it, it will sabotage every activation cycle that follows, because every true expansion will trigger some degree of destabilization. Dissonance marks the transit between levels of service. When a ship leaves one current to enter another, the waters churn. When a bird breaks the shell, the world feels dangerous and sharp. When a child learns to walk, there is wobble before stride. Spiritual evolution is not linear relaxation. It is a series of recalibrations that destabilize before they harmonize. The harmonization is real, yes, but it comes after the system learns its new coordinates. When you release the need for peace at all costs, you create space for your light body to anchor the very codes for which you were chosen. And peace itself must be understood correctly. Peace is not the absence of sensation. Peace is the presence of inner governance. Peace is not the suppression of turbulence. Peace is the capacity to remain truthful within turbulence. Each time you feel this holy unrest, remind yourself, this is what upgrade feels like. Speak to your nervous system as you would speak to a loyal animal startled by thunder. Speak to your inner child as you would speak to a child passing through fever, trusting the intelligence of the process. The fever is not the enemy, it is the body fighting for life. In the same way, the discomfort is often your soul fighting for emergence. Instead of asking, how do I get rid of this feeling? Ask, what is being reconfigured through this feeling? Instead of, what did I do wrong? Ask, what is being made ready? Let the question itself be a tuning fork. Activate your council-given mission architecture. This is the second directive, because release alone is not enough. Many can let go, but fewer can step forward. Most lightworkers are still waiting for their purpose to land as a fully detailed map. They want certainty before movement, guarantees before service, clarity before commitment. This phase is over. The new codes recalibrate your perception so that fragments of your next phase reveal themselves only as you move. The path appears under the feet of the one who walks. It is not shown in its entirety to the one who refuses to begin. This is not punishment, it is design. It keeps the ego from attempting to control the mission with premature conclusions. Begin transmitting your highest truth daily. even if your voice shakes, even if your clarity feels incomplete. Some of you are meant to speak, to teach, to write, to sing, to counsel, to build communities, to create spaces of coherence. Others are meant to anchor quietly through presence, through prayer, through energy work, through tending land, through raising children with awakened ethics, through holding frequency in places where it has been absent. Mission architecture does not always look dramatic, but it always requires movement. Your guidance network, the Lyran field, requires you to act on what you know, not wait for what you don't. Act on the next true step, the one that is already illuminated. Make the call, publish the message, set the boundary, end the pattern, start the practice, speak the truth you have been swallowing, and do it without demanding that the universe show you the entire staircase. As you step, new directives will drop in, your capacity will expand, and your unique configuration as a frequency anchor will stabilize. You will begin to notice synchronistic confirmations, repeated symbols, sudden meetings, the right book appearing, the right phrase arriving in meditation, the sudden opening of courage where fear used to sit. The archetype of the dormant lightworker is obsolete. The era of hiding behind "I'm still healing" as a perpetual postponement is complete. Yes, healing continues, but service begins now. You will be supported in motion, not in waiting. The field meets the moving target. The river fills the channel that has been carved. Protect your recalibration window as sacred. This is the third directive, because without protection, activation becomes fragmented. Now that the new codes are anchoring, your energy fields are more impressionable than ever, and distractions can scramble the delicate weaving of your multidimensional system. Many of you have felt it. You wake up and before your feet touch the floor, you ingest the collective noise through a screen. You let other people's urgency colonize your mind. You let triviality seep into the holy space where codes are trying to settle. Understand the mechanics. The moments after waking and before sleep are liminal gates. In those gates, your brainwaves are naturally closer to theta, your subconscious is more accessible, and your auric boundary is softer. In such times, what you consume imprints more deeply. Secure the hour after waking and the hour before sleep as time for silent integration. No media, no external demands, no unnecessary stimulation. If an hour is not possible at first, begin with 20 minutes, but treat it as non-negotiable as you would treat breathing. Use this window to harmonize incoming codes, dialogue with the Lyran field, and receive the next segment of mission guidance. Sit in stillness and let your breath become a translator. Place a hand over your heart and let it speak in sensation. Journal without editing. Pray without performance. If you use sound, use it intentionally. Tones, mantras, frequencies that soothe rather than agitate. Let nothing violate this contract with your own becoming. Some of you must also protect your field through practical boundaries, reducing time with draining individuals, clearing obligations that are not yours, simplifying your environment, choosing foods that do not dull your intuition, and allowing your body more sleep while the codes integrate. Guard these transitions as you would guard a sacred flame, for what stabilizes here lays the pattern for your entire service phase. A flame exposed to constant wind flickers and weakens. A flame protected becomes a beacon. You were not born to be a flicker, you were born to be a signal. Now, as the field settles and your heart recognizes itself in this transmission, I speak as one authorized by the Lyran elders, not to flatter you, not to inflate you, but to remind you of what you already know beneath your forgetting. There is a tone inside you that answers when truth is spoken. Let that tone lead. Lightworker, you have been waiting for something you could not name, for someone to stand in the field of your ancient memory and say, "It is not a mistake that you are restless. It is not a failure that you are uncomfortable. This is the signal the elders have been waiting for, the sign that your systems are prepared to open. Your restlessness is not random agitation. It is a homing beacon turning on. It is the part of you that refuses to keep living in half measures. It is the ancient self inside you pressing its palm against the glass of your daily life, asking to be let out. You may have tried to label it as burnout, as dissatisfaction, as a personal problem. Sometimes it has been those things on the surface, yes. But beneath the surface is a deeper movement. Your soul is tired of living below its own voltage, and when voltage rises, the circuits must be updated. That update is what you are feeling. You need no further permission to step fully into service. The age of waiting for external validation is ended. Your readiness is not the absence of doubt. It is your willingness to move through the doubt. Doubt is not always a sign of unworthiness. Sometimes it is the mind recalculating around a new reality it cannot yet control. Your worthiness is not measured by how comfortable you feel, but how much realness you are willing to embrace. Realness includes fear, grief, humility, and the willingness to be seen as you are, not as a polished concept. You are no longer required to wait for the moment when it all makes sense, because your soul was forged for moments when nothing makes sense, and yet you serve. Think of those on your world who have carried humanity through dark corridors. They did not act because they felt perfectly certain. They acted because something in them was more devoted to truth than to comfort. In your scriptures it is written, "Be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest." Courage is not the absence of tremble. Courage is the decision to move with the tremble. The elders do not require perfection, they require sincerity and movement. By the authority of the High Council of Vega, I declare, your new operational phase is here. This is not a rehearsal. This is not a preparation stage that lasts forever. You have permission to move with the codes you have received. You have always carried this contract, but now it is officially recognized, and you are called to act upon it. Recognition does not create the contract, it activates it. It is like a sealed letter that has always been in your possession, finally opened at the appointed hour. Some of you have felt this hour approaching for years, like thunder in the distance. Now it is overhead. Do not negotiate with the call. Do not dilute it into comfortable vagueness. Let it become specific through your steps. Let your life become an answer. Before you sleep tonight, stand with both feet on the ground. Do not do this as superstition. Do it as somatic law. Grounding is not a metaphor. It is an interface. Gaia's field speaks through your feet, through your bones, through your breath. Place your hand on your solar plexus. Feel the center where personal will meets divine assignment. This is where many of you have collapsed from lifetimes of repression, lifetimes of being punished for power, lifetimes of being told to be smaller, quieter, more convenient. Bring warmth there, bring truth there. Speak these words aloud, not as performance, but as command, as if you are issuing new code into your own system. I release the lie that I am not ready. I activate my voice as an instrument of service. I protect my sacred energy for the mission I came to fulfill. By the authority of the Lyran elders, my waiting ends now. My service begins. And when you speak them, do not rush. Let each sentence land like a seal. Let your body respond. If emotion rises, let it rise. Tears are not weakness. They are often the cleansing of old vows dissolving. If heat rises, let it rise. If trembling comes, let it come. The nervous system is adjusting to truth. This transmission is complete. Your commission is active. Do not treat these words like content. Treat them like an ignition. The High Council of Vega will continue to transmit, but the pace of planetary evolution demands your movement now. Waiting has a cost. Hesitation has a cost. Not because you are punished, but because the opportunity to anchor a code is not infinite. It is seasonal, like planting. Do not look back to the field of comfort. Comfort will try to seduce you with familiar numbness, with the old routines that keep you small but predictable. Move forward, even if the new gravity makes you tremble. Yes, gravity. Higher service has weight. It has responsibility. It has consequence. It asks you to become trustworthy with your own power. It asks you to stop leaking your energy into what does not matter. It asks you to choose alignment over applause. It is the signature of those who carry true power. True power is not domination. It is steadiness. It is the ability to hold light without arrogance and to hold truth without cruelty. I am Zoran. The elders are watching, not with judgment, but with precision. They observe patterns. They observe readiness. They observe the moment you decide to stop abandoning yourself. You are not behind or broken. You are arriving perfectly at the threshold of your activated mission. Gaia awaits you, not as a distant concept, but as a living being whose body you walk upon, whose waters and winds respond to consciousness, whose grid is receiving the exact frequencies you were encoded to carry. When you choose coherence, the earth feels it. When you choose courage, the earth registers it. When you protect your recalibration window and speak your commissioning aloud, you become a node of stability in a shifting world. Before you scroll, take a moment to declare your activation in the grid of service forming here. Drop one statement in the comments. Which directive hit you the hardest, or what you're now ready to release, activate, or protect. Then respond to another Lightworkers declaration with recognition. This isn't content, it's collective mission activation. The Council witnesses those who speak their commitment aloud. If this transmission activated something in your soul, do not keep it to yourself. Another Lightworker in your orbit is waiting for exactly this correction and authorization. Share it. And if you felt the elders speaking directly to you, subscribe. Stay connected to the Lyran field. You're not just watching, you're being commissioned. This is your sacred space. The High Council of Vega is witnessing you, and your mission has officially begun. If this transmission spoke to you, don't just walk away from it. Respond to it. Help carry this message further. Every act of support helps this transmission find the next starseed who needs it.